What is up guys, Andy Forresty Runner here, and today I'm taking the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo out for the speed test and the long run test. Okay, so welcome to the speed test, and today we're going to be doing some kilometre repeats, really put this thing through its paces. I wanted to be out on the trails today, and even at 7:30 on a Thursday morning, the weather is so good at the moment. I'll move the camera to here so you're not blinded. The trails were relatively busy and I just did not feel comfortable in running up and down past people, asking them to move out of the way. It's just not fair. So I've come out onto the industrial estate and just going to get them done. I did a nice, wow, it's going to be 4.5 mile warm up actually on the trails, and I'll do a little cool down on the trails as well to get my trail action for today. But let's see how the New Balance Tempo do in the kilometre repeats. So there we go, 6x1k done and dusted in the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo. It was an exploratory kind of day today out on the industrial estate, pushing boundaries, seeing where my fitness was at. I tried to run the first one as close to 3:20 as possible. I don't actually know what the results are because my watch has it on interval mode and it doesn't tell me what the times are. But I tried to hit that pace and I faded quite badly. But overall, that's fine. We're in a time right now where that sort of thing doesn't really matter, and I wanted to see roughly where my fitness was at. Overall, the shoes were great, super lightweight, got my feet turning over nice and quickly, very happy with it. Onto the long run. Good morning, welcome to the long run test. Apologies for the quality, having to record this little intro on my phone, my GoPro camera. Guess what? It's dead of battery. I charged it last night. I don't know what is going on with that thing, but anyway, that's besides the point. Today is long run day in the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo. Today is an absolute scorcher. It's 8 AM. It's going to get to 22-23 degrees today. So I'm out here just going to clock up the miles. Nothing fancy today. No paces to hit. No steady running. Just running what my body can handle in this heat. Want to get a decent long run done today. So hopefully at least 15 miles. But I'm not going to push it today if my body does not want to push it. But I am heading towards the hills. So we're going to see how much elevation we can get done today, which is a little bit weird in this shoe because this shoe is not designed for it, but the shoe is going to work for me whether it likes it or not. So on with the run, and we will talk about it when we get back. So we ended up completing 18 miles in the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo, meaning we've now completed the speed test and the long run test. Today we'll dive into how this shoe performed in a bit more detail with the speed work and the long run. So if you're excited for today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start off with the speed test. So as you saw, we ended up doing by 6x1k in this shoe. Really happy overall with how the shoe handled it. Just for those of you who are interested, we're just wrapped up week number 2 of 8 in a 10k training block, just training to do a 10k time trial in the end or middle to end of June, and just trying to get a bit more specific with my 10k work. So this shoe has come just at the right time. How did this thing handle the workout? Well, on the day itself I did take a bit of a diversion to do a bit of a longer warm up. My priority at the moment with my running in general is to enjoy myself, because during this weird and confusing time that we're all living in, enjoyment is key to have a good start to the day, or just to help our day, just to have something to focus on. So I did take the scenic route through the trails, which did mean my legs were a little bit tired starting this workout, but either way, this thing absolutely rocketed during the 1k reps. Now, just for clarification, I've always been around about a tail end of last year, 328 to 335 per k runner when I'm doing these reps. And earlier this year I bought the New Balance 1080 version 10, got that out of the box, did 8x1k in those as a speed test, which is completely not what that shoe is all about, but I ended up running around 320. I did dip under 320 once, but around about 322 to 326 was that range. And this thing came up trumps again, and we ended up running, as you saw the paces on screen, 323, 324, in and around there. We faded a bit in the last one, I've got to be honest with you. It was hot, I was fasted. And yeah, that was hard going, but on the whole, this thing felt light, snappy, and it kind of made me realise I am now at that level. That 323, 324 is my sweet spot for kilometre repeats, and hopefully in the duration of this 10k training, we'll be doing some more kilometre repeats, and we'll see if we can get that time down. This thing handled them beautifully. There's enough Fresh Foam X in this shoe to be comfortable, but not enough to bog and weigh it down. It's snappy, it's responsive, it's fast, it makes you want to move, and it's light on foot. That's the main thing that you look for a speed shoe. It is light underfoot. You want your feet to be turning over quickly. You want to feel like you are running on air. Despite this thing being, I can't remember what it was in my first impressions, but was it 12 ounces or 13 or something? Because I am a UK size 13 and this has to be a 14.5 to fit me. Yes, it's a big shoe, but it still feels so much lighter than all the other shoes I've been running in, and that's purely because of the upper materials used, the lack of midsole, not the lack of, the smaller stack height of midsole. It's just the perfect combination, and for me, it really excelled. The name Tempo gives this shoe away. This thing really is geared up for the speed stuff, and I'm so happy with how it handled those reps. Moving on to the long run, and this is an interesting one. This is where I was really not sure how this shoe would perform. It ended up performing relatively well. I was really happy with it. Of course, with the lower stack height and the less cushioning, I do like more of a cushioned shoe for a longer run. I am obviously on my feet for a lot longer. And I've had instances in shoes that have lower stack height that just, they start to hurt after a while, and I was just a bit concerned with this shoe that we would end up feeling that way. Actually, what turned out to be was a really good solid run. We ended up doing 18 miles. It was seriously hot. By the time I got home, it was 22 degrees, which for here is very, very hot. I was suffering a little bit when I got home, but overall, my paces and splits were fantastic. I was so happy with how I did. The goal was to go out and run another steady long run, just because I'm loving the steady long runs at the moment, and I ended up not being in the mood for that. I just went out there and thought, do you know what, it's too hot today, it's too hot. So I reined it back to the first 6 miles, and I knew I wanted to hit some hills when I went out there, so I thought I need to be sensible today. I want to get the distance in. I'm not worried about hitting a certain number of distance, but I do want to keep my long runs up there as a minimum of 15 miles, if not higher. We ended up doing the 6 miles at a relatively easy to steady pace, and then we kicked on. I hit a bottom of a hill and I just was flooded with energy, and for the next 6 miles I pushed on over the Forest of Dean Autumn Half Marathon hills. This thing absolutely motored over those hills, and I think that's where it came into its element, and where I was really, really happy. This shoe I would certainly consider using for a long run workout. We were on our feet for over 2.5 hours, just over 2 hours, about 2 hours 10 minutes, and my feet felt really good afterwards, and that was really surprising despite the smaller stack height, despite the lesser midsole, and something like the Asics Nova Blast or the 1080 version 10. Overall, my thoughts were at the end when I finished, gosh, this has surprised me a little bit. Yes, it's not something I'd pick if I was going out and doing maybe a 20+ mile long run and wanting to run relatively steady the whole way, but on the whole, I've got to be honest with you, it handled the long run really well, and I would give it kudos for the fact that my feet felt pretty good towards the end. Overall, this shoe ended up standing up to everything I threw at it. Really, really happy with the speed stuff. It pretty much excelled in everything that we did there, and the long run was a surprise. I really wasn't expecting, as I said, this thing to do that well. Obviously, you guys might remember, some of you original subscribers, I had a bit of problems with the New Balance Beacon version 2. The midsole was just a little bit too firm, and I did not enjoy going over 2 hours in that shoe. And I've always been a bit hesitant with New Balance and Fresh Foam midsole if it would do exactly the same as that. Neither of them have, and again, this thing just did really, really well. So overall, I've got to give this thing top marks for everything we've thrown at it. So the next stage, of course, with this shoe is to try and get it up to 100 miles, and we'll see how it fares when we get there. With that will come a couple more workouts, probably not any more long runs. I'm going to reserve those for the Fuel Cell TC and the Asics Nova Blast, but I want to get some more easier daily miles and some more workouts in this shoe and see how it handles maybe the longer repetitions, maybe some mile repeats, as well as some of the shorter stuff. I'm certainly going to be doing some more shorter track stuff, whether that's on the track or on the road in this shoe, and we'll see overall how it ends up handling everything that we throw at it. So that's it for my overall review of the speed test and the long run test in the New Balance Fresh Foam X Tempo. It's been a fantastic shoe. It's been an absolute pleasure to run in so far. New Balance, as I've said in previous videos, are doing absolutely amazing things this year with their running shoes, and I'm really, really happy that we'll have another gem on my hands. But of course, as I always like to ask, let me know in the comments below, have you got this running shoe? How do you like to use it, and how have you found it? How many miles have you guys got in it, and are you finding it's getting better over time, or is it just being a constant gem for you, or are you not getting on with it? Let me know in the comments below. And just a very quick heads up, we have another shoe rocking up here later this week, which is super, super exciting. An absolute gem of a shoe. You do not want to miss this thing, and we'll be putting it through a great first impressions for you, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.